One of my friends has experienced homework and assignments being given to them over reading break. What can you tell us about the rules surrounding assignments being assigned over breaks like that? Welcome to Know Your Rights. Today, we're joined by Dr. James Mandigo to talk about instructional responsibilities. Thanks for being here with us today,
Hey, my
James.
pleasure, Duncan. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your position on campus?
Yeah, so I am currently the Provost and Vice President Academic here at UFE. I joined UFE in the fall of 2019. In fact, my very first day at UFE was the fall 2019 invocation. That was my first day on campus, so I got to wear my robes on my very first day of work here, which was exciting, and meet lots of great students. My role is as the Vice President Academic. I work with our academic deans across our 6 faculties and colleges. I also work with a number of areas related to international, indigenization, equity, diversity, and inclusion, our Teaching and Learning Center, our HR Center. What else do I do? Those are I'm thinking. Our institutional research and analysis group as well. So a number of different portfolios in the academic area report into me, and I get to work with a great group of colleagues and individuals on a daily basis to help support our academic mission at the university.
Wonderful. Sounds like you're the perfect authority to talk about instructional responsibilities.
Well, I don't know about authority, but I'm happy to share what I know.
Well, let's jump right into it then.
Great, you bet.
One of the first questions I want to ask you about instructional responsibilities is, why does the syllabus matter so much?
Yeah, it contains a lot of really important information that students need to pay attention to. It includes information about, obviously, are you in the right course? The prerequisites for the course. It includes information about when office hours, for example, how to communicate with the professor, how you're going to be evaluated. And it really provides a guideline for students to understand what the course is going to look like over the course of the duration of the semester. And it also represents a contract between the instructor and the students about what they can expect to learn in the course as well. And so it's really important that students pay attention to what's in the course outline, and plan accordingly. It helps map out their whole semester and what they can expect to do throughout the term.
Awesome, thank you. And what kinds of things need to be included on the course syllabus?
Obviously the course name and the course number, the instructor, how to contact the instructor, office hours are on there as well. And that's a really important part for students to know when faculty members are available. It's important for students to recognize that the faculty have a lot of responsibilities, and they're teaching a number of courses. They're not teaching just your course, but a number of courses. They're often involved in research and scholarship. They're involved in service, sitting on committees, both within the university and outside the university. And so they identify, so often they're not always available 24/7, but they allocate a certain part of their day and their week to office hours, and so that's really important that students know when those office hours are. So that's a time they can go and see them. Obviously, if there's some time, if you need to speak to an instructor outside those, contacting them, see if they're available, set up an appointment is also really important. And so in that course syllabus, you'll also see how to contact the professor. The learning outcomes are really important. Students used to ask me, well, what's on the final exam? And I'd say, well, the learning outcomes are on the final exam, because that's what we hope that a student will achieve through the course. And so obviously we want to assess whether or not how well a student understands the learning outcomes in a course. And so those, don't just skip over those learning outcomes. It's really important that you understand what the expectations are of you and what you hope to learn throughout the course. So learning outcomes will be on there. You'll also see things like assignments on there as well. It's important to write down your due dates of when your assignments are. It's from the very beginning when things are due, put those in your calendar, and make sure you adhere to those timelines and deadlines that are set out at the very beginning of term for you. You'll see things like course readings in there, and again, that gives you a chance to read, to be prepared to come to class and prepared to come to lab and seminar. Do those readings in advance so that you come prepared and can really, get more out of the course material and out of the interactions that you have with your professors in class time. So those are some of the core things that you'll see in a course syllabus. And sometimes you might find some hidden gems in there too. When I was an instructor, I once put a final exam question in my course syllabus because students, I was finding students weren't paying attention to the course syllabus. And so I said, if you're reading this course syllabus, I put it right in the reading list. If you're reading this course, if you're reading this right now, here's a question in your final exam. And sure enough, it was in the final exam, and only half the students got it right. So, which told me that they weren't paying enough attention to the course syllabus. So instructors, it's that valuable a tool. I'm not saying you're always going to find questions on the final exam in your course syllabus, but I guess the point is, it was important enough for me as an instructor that students read that course syllabus, and word got out in future courses to make sure you read Professor Mandigo's course syllabus because you never know what you're going to find.
Well, thank you for that insider tip, James. Yeah. One thing I wanted to ask, especially in reference to some of the kind of hectic semesters that we've had over the past couple of years, how much of my instructor can change my syllabus? And if so, how much can they, and what are the processes they need to go through to change it?
Yeah, great question, Duncan. And typically, once you get your course syllabus at the beginning of term, as I said before, it's a contract between you, the instructor, and the students. And so those expectations, those assignments, those due dates, they need to be adhered to, in a respectful way. We've been through a lot these past couple of years, with COVID and recently with the devastating floods, and sometimes instructors have to make changes to their course outline or the course syllabus because for a variety of reasons, and often those reasons are how to best serve the students, and so in case of the flooding, some instructors had to make some adjustments in their course outline to make sure that students could still be successful in the course. There were accommodations put in place for students who were impacted by the floods, and so there were some extraordinary circumstances that we've never faced before, where instructors did have to make some changes at the last minute. But typically, if there are any changes to a course outline, it's something the instructor needs to discuss with the students as a whole, and reach a consensus with the students around developing a level of agreement around making those changes. Unfortunately, we've had our instructors have had to make some adjustments during the floods and particularly at the beginning of COVID. But those changes were all to help support students to be successful in the course, and we're always with a vested interest in how to best serve our students.
Awesome, for sure. Now, pivoting away from syllabus, why is it important for students to attend the first class?
Well, there's lots of reasons. Policy-wise, if you don't attend the first class, either in person or if it's an online course, if you don't log in to your Blackboard by the first day of class, you could be deregistered from the course. And if that happens and it was, if you didn't inform the instructor that you weren't able to attend because of a certain extenuating circumstance, that could be the result. It's important that you communicate with your instructor if you're not able to attend the first class and give a reason why. If for some reason you do become deregistered because you didn't attend, you can always appeal that decision to the dean and ask, extenuating circumstances precluded you from being able to attend that first lecture. So, can you please consider that and allow me back in the course? If you did want to get deregistered for whatever reason, make sure you get the refund that you're deserved as well. So I think policy-wise, that's important, but it's also just really important to go to class. This is something, if you think back to when you were a high school student, or when you were applying to university to come to UFE, you worked really, really hard to try and make that happen. And oftentimes you had the support of your family to do that as well, and who are making some important investments and decisions. Often, many of our students have part-time jobs they're also doing to help support their educational journey. And so you've worked hard to get here, and it's the time is going to fly by, believe me. So the best thing you can do to support your learning and educational journey is to attend class, because that's your chance to really interact with your peers and your colleagues and your professors. We have such amazing professors who have engaging classes where students get have a chance to interact with one another. So it's really important, not only to the first class, but every class throughout the term, to get the most out of your educational journey. And I'll just talk about the financial piece of this too. You wouldn't buy a pair of concert tickets and then throw them away and not go, right? This is what you've obviously you or other people have had have made a financial investment in yourself. And because you feel it's really important, and so it's so from a financial perspective, if you're missing class, you're just throwing money out the window. So don't do that. Think of it as your time as an investment here, and all the benefits that are going to result of you being an active participant in your learning.
Well said, James. And getting back to one of the things you said earlier regarding getting in contact with your instructors, I've had a couple of friends have trouble getting in touch with their instructors.
Yep.
What's a reasonable amount of time to wait for a response back?
Yeah, so the typical, again, sort of policy-wise, we kind of encourage our instructors to get back within 2 instructional days. And it doesn't include holidays or weekends. Of course. But also, most of our instructors are really good about that and getting back in a timely way. But it's also really important to understand, they have lives too, and they have families, and they have other responsibilities, and they're going to get back to you as soon as they can. They care immensely about students. They care about your well-being. It's you're probably going to get a more favorable response from an instructor if you ask a question that maybe you don't already have access to the answer for. So go back to the course syllabus, right? Mm-hmm. You probably don't want to be emailing your professor and asking them, when's the date of that assignment due again, right? It's in your course syllabus, right? So you're probably going to get a much more supportive response, timely response, if you're asking questions that are, really meaningful and impactful, and you've already tried to find out the answer, but you can't find it somewhere. You just need a little bit of help, or can you give me some help in terms of where to find X, right? And our instructors and our faculty are amazing at being able to help direct you in the right direction. So I think part of it is being respectful on both sides, is recognizing, obviously our instructors are very respectful of our students and attempt to get back in a really timely manner. But also, for our students to recognize that our faculty have lots of other responsibilities too. And, when they do reach out to a professor, making sure that it's a question that maybe they've tried to find the answer to, and just need a bit of help and support and guidance along the way.
Totally. And another reason to read the syllabus early. So
Absolutely.
If you have any of those kind of initial questions, then you can email your instructor right away.
Yeah. I wouldn't suggest the question around, I've got tickets to go to Cuba for the holiday break. Can I write my exam another time? My typical response to students was, well, as long as you buy me an extra ticket so I can go with you, then sure. But other than that, you knew the exam time. That's published. It's published beginning of term. You really shouldn't be making those type of plans until you get your exam schedule and know when those dates are. So, I think some of it's just, again, that goes along with sort of being respectful timelines and deadlines and the process.
Totally. That mutual respect is essential to making sure that classes are going smoothly and everybody is getting through the work that they need to do.
Yep, absolutely.
One of my friends has experienced homework and assignments being given to them over reading break. What can you tell us about the rules surrounding assignments being assigned over breaks like that?
So great question. You know, the policy really is clear about obviously no face-to-face instruction, online in class during reading break, no exams that take place during that time. Where it's a little probably less clear, maybe we need to work on this a little bit better, is the expectations around assignments and when they're due. You know, I think that there's sort of an unwritten code that assignments shouldn't be due during that week. It should be a time for students to, to catch up, to catch their breath, to focus on other things, and so we try and discourage instructors from having due dates during that reading break. But they may offer things like drop-in tutorials or extra lab sessions where you could go and get some help, and those things are available often for students. There could be some homework that they assign to sort of get ready for the rest of the term. So it's I know it's a time, especially in a beautiful province like BC, where there's lots of amazing things to do during that winter break, and I think it's really important that students get out and take a break and be active and enjoy the beautiful outdoors and enjoy getting together with their friends if they can. But it also is important for students to recognize it's also a time to sort of get prepared for the rest of the semester and do what they have to do to be successful over the next sort of 6 to 7 weeks to the end of term. So definitely exams are out, face-to-face classes are out, homework could be assigned, and I think we've been sort of trying to work with our faculty to understand, really expectation around assignments being due is probably not a reasonable expectation, and let's talk about how we can maybe clarify that for some of our faculty.
Thanks for the clarification on that.
Yep.
And then lastly, what are your recommendations for proceeding if a student has faced any of these issues that we've talked about, either not getting in touch with an instructor or maybe having an exam due during reading break?
Yeah, I think the best place to start is with the instructor. Now, of course, if they're not responding, that's a different issue, right? But we have amazing faculty here, and they truly do care about students and their well-being and supporting them to be successful. And I think 9 times out of 10, if you go to starting with an instructor is the best place to start, because the vast majority of our faculty are going to want to help and find a way to support. However, if you get a response that you don't agree with, or you're not getting a response, there's always the next level, which is the dean, the department head or director. They oversee the management of the department and the courses in those departments, and so that would be your next level if you're not happy with the response from an instructor or lack of a response from an instructor. Going to that department head or director would be your next step, and then your next step from there would be going to the dean. And so there's always a level that you can take your concerns to if you're not happy with the responses that you're getting.
And lastly, is there any last things you wanted to tell students in regards to instructional responsibilities, if you had the chance?
Yeah, I just think, embrace your educational experience. I mean, it does truly fly by, and you've worked so hard to get here. And, you've chosen UFE, I think in large part because of the type of connection that our students have with their faculty members. And taking advantage of being, in courses with those instructors who are often doing amazing kinds of work and research and scholarship in our communities. I think that that's really a critical piece of the educational experience as well. And I think back to my undergrad a long time ago, and it was the connections that I made with individual faculty members along the way that really motivated me to want to continue to pursue a career as a professor and in higher education. And as a researcher. And so don't miss out on those opportunities. Take advantage of them. Get involved. Be engaged. Know that 90% plus of our faculty will support a student any way they can. So reaching out to them if you have concerns or issues is often your best place to start. And I think that would be my main advice is to develop that relationship with a professor and work with them.
Awesome. Well, thank you for joining us today, James, to talk about student rights.
Yeah, my pleasure. And thank you, Duncan, for all your work and all the work that SUS is doing to support students across UFE. It's been very inspiring during some really challenging times. So our students are so fortunate to have you and your leadership team supporting them.
Thank you. Thank you.